Do you enjoy a good first-person narrative puzzle game? How about solving mind-bending color-coded puzzles? Well, if you're a fan of those, then you might really enjoy the Spectrum Retreat. What's going on, guys? Randall Thor 19, the man with the million, back again with another video. And this Ranzini Spotlight is going to be all about the Spectrum Retreat, which is available tomorrow, July 10th on the PlayStation 4, and Friday, July 13th on the Xbox One and PC. It'll be available on the Nintendo Switch sometime later this summer. It is developed by Dan Smith, published by Ripstone Games. It retails for $13, and I want to thank them for sending over a code for the purpose of this review. Now, the Spectrum Retreat is basically two games in one. On one hand, you have the first-person narrative puzzle game, and then on the other hand, you have the solving the mind-bending color-coded puzzles in the vein of a Portal or a Cube. So, the basic story setup is you wake up in a hotel. You're not really sure what you're there for. You're not even really sure who you are. And when you open up the door, an android says he hopes you're enjoying your stay and that breakfast is being served. And that kind of starts out your adventure. You soon get contacted by somebody on the outside who thinks you're there against your will, that somebody is holding you against your will, and that she wants to help you break out of the Penrose hotel. But in order to do so, you need to solve these puzzles. But in order to access these puzzles, you have this kind of first-person narrative puzzle game that plays out. Normally, you find a door with a keypad, and somewhere close by, there'll be a set of numbers that you have to look for, and then input in the keypad, and then you actually start the other part of the game, which is this puzzle game that is very much in the vein of a Portal or a Cube or something similar. You enter this room, and on the other side of the room, there is a door that lets you kind of continue on. Sounds very similar to other puzzle games like it, but this one is all about using the color-coded puzzles. You see, when you start off, you'll see there are orange blocks, green blocks, blue blocks, and you can kind of take the color onto your phone. And when you have that color, you can pass through the gates, because that's how the game is kind of set up. Yes, you can't just walk to the end of the level. You do have obstacles in your way, and those are normally color-coded gates. So when you have an orange on your phone, you can pass through orange gates, but the green gate will be locked, and so forth and so on. So it's all about transferring the colors from blocks to blocks to be able to open up the path to get to the end. And while it seems pretty easy in level 1, it does add more and more to it as you go, because each time you solve a set of puzzles, you'll be back at the hotel, redoing everything, or at least restarting what you did before, moving up the different floors until you can, solve what exactly is happening to you and what you did. But the puzzles do get pretty elaborate the more you play. Level 1 is basic, like here's the mechanics of how it works. Level 2 adds an extra color. Level 3 starts adding teleportation, which is actually pretty cool. You can actually teleport to a thing on the wall if you have the right color, so that really opens up a lot of the puzzle mechanics. Floor 4 has a gravity changer. There'll be little switches, and when you hit a switch on the wall, it'll actually shift the room. And of course, like level 5 is the last level, and it kind of throws everything together at you to make sure that you conquered exactly and learned what you should have learned through the rest of the game. And then of course, everything is kind of revealed to you, the mystery behind the game, who you are, what you did, what you're there for, etc., etc. I actually really enjoyed the game. I found the puzzles to be pretty clever. At first, I was kind of like, I'm not really feeling this color-coded, but they do get pretty intense the more you go. There's some really good, logic, working out a lot of the puzzles logically and things like that. So I really, really enjoyed the puzzle stuff. The mystery of the game itself was it kept me going in the beginning, but I kind of figured out exactly what was going on about halfway through, so that really didn't drive me like some other games do, like the mystery of why you're in the Penrose Hotel and what you're doing there and all that stuff. Was kind of cool in the beginning, but like I said, figured it out. It didn't really compel me. What compelled me to keep on playing was I wanted to see how the puzzles kept on improving upon themselves, and they really didn't disappoint in that area. Now, the one problem I do have with some of the puzzles is that there are fail-safe. You know, in games like Portal or Cube and things like that, you can never really get stuck per se. But in this game, you can make a wrong move, put a color somewhere where you shouldn't, and you can't get back to where you started, which means you got to reset the challenge. So some of the puzzles can be a little bit of trial and error, because you can't see around certain hallways to know, like, okay, what's over there? Do I need to bring the green with me? Do I need to bring the blue? Do I need to put it over here so I can grab it from a certain distance? So there's a little bit of trial and error that make you kind of, that will probably force you to restart once you kind of get to that point and you didn't know. I didn't really enjoy that aspect of it, but it did make for some pretty cool puzzles, which is what I really enjoyed most about the game. Now, it runs okay on the Xbox One X. I did notice a lot of screen tearing, and for you achievement and trophy hunters, this is a pretty easy platinum or a pretty easy 1000. Your first playthrough will get you all but one achievement or trophy, and all you gotta do is play through the game again and actually do the other ending, because that's right, you have a choice at the end of the game. So all in all, I think the Spectrum Retreat is a pretty damn cool puzzle game. I'm going to give it a 7.5 out of 10. I recommend it if you're a fan of the genre. It's a pretty good price too, $13. You'll probably get a good 4 or 5 hours out of your first playthrough, and if you decide to go through it again to see the under ending, you'll get a couple more hours out of it. I think it's really enjoyable, but I understand if you're maybe not a fan of these type of games, then wait for a sale. But I do recommend the Spectrum Retreat if you're a fan of the first-person narrative puzzle games with some really interesting puzzle choices. You know, if you like Portal and Cube and games like that, I think you will enjoy the Spectrum Retreat. Anyways, guys, that is the review. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button if you're new. Hit the notification bell if you always want to be notified when I drop new videos and reviews. Share this out on Twitter. You know the drill. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. And I'll see everybody in the next video. Later, guys.